Hello, and welcome back to Through Imperial Eyes, again, because we just had another week hiatus, and this time we're not hearing Gideon in the background. I'm your host, Braydon Leadbetter.
I'm your co-host, Jackson Daleen.
And Jackson, please tell us about your magical experience at Galaxy's Edge this week.
So I went to Galaxy's Edge last Wednesday, so a week from today recording this, and it was very fun. It's a lot smaller than I expected it to be, but like it's still very big. It's not like it wasn't disappointingly small. It's just like everything is clustered at like one,
right?
And then it like loops itself. Because it's just kind of like an extension off of the main path.
Right.
But it is very, very, very cool. Lots of ship props. You know, there was an A-Wing, an X-Wing. There's the Kylo Ren ship and then the Falcon. But it was so cool, so detail-oriented. There were tons of stuff for literally like waiting for people by the bathroom, and I'm looking off, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I'm like, I know what those are. I'm like, oh, I know what that is. And I'm like, oh, here's a case just full of things, and I'm taking pictures of everything. And
did you get to ride anything?
No. So when we got there, the Rise of the Resistance was booked up completely. We saw that coming. We knew that was going to happen. But then the Falcon ride, when we were in Galaxy's Edge, was at like 180-minute wait. And we just decided against it, ended up shopping and kind of sightseeing.
It's only like 3 hours.
Yeah, no, I wasn't here for it. We didn't ride a lot of rides in general. Every ride we did do was at Epcot, and those were just because they were quick little air-conditioned breaks. It was cool, though. All of the shops weren't like Star Wars centered. Like, it wasn't Star Wars branded. It was all like in-universe stuff. So like wooden toys and like plushie dolls of like characters, but not like normal toys.
Like you wouldn't find a Black Series figure.
Well, it's funny you say that. So very few places sold Black Series. None of it was in Galaxy's Edge. It was anywhere that had a store that had a Star Wars section that would sell one. Everything I saw was either Grief, Karga, Queel, or I saw one Moff Gideon. I didn't get him because it was the first set of Black Series that I saw. And I was like, oh, I'll find others and we'll get those. And I just didn't. And if I did, it was still the same characters. Yeah, so
poor Grief, Karga, and Queel.
I was just like, dude, even like I expected some kind of difference in the Disney, like sell a different set of characters.
It's Target all over again.
Yeah, literally. So, no, it was cool. I bought a game of Sabacc.
Nice.
Which I am excited to use and play. I bought Hans dice that are now hanging in my rearview mirror in my car.
As you should.
And then I got this bad boy. Let me pull him off my table. He comes in a really cool box. And for those looking, I'm holding up my lightsaber box and my lightsaber inside.
No one can see you, but they can hear you.
Oh, are we not recording video at all?
No, we only do that for Bad Batch. Sorry, everybody.
I'm just showing this to Braydon. This is what I got.
It's the Return of the Jedi Luke saber.
It's really funny. So it comes. I didn't buy a blade for it. I just bought the hilt. And it comes with a second hilt for the blade, but it's really fat. Chunky. Yeah, it's like, this is really weird. Like, this isn't here at all. It's all like just one piece.
What material is it made out of?
Metal. This is definitely metal.
Gotcha.
And I think the whole thing is, I don't think there's a lick of plastic or like rubber or anything on it. And metal and plastic. That's
the thing that I hate about the Force Effects sabers is that they're like plasticky and kind of.
Yeah, and they sold a bunch of those too. No, I was really impressed with this because like when he first showed me, it was the chunky handle. He put the blade in it and ignited it, and I was just like, oh. I was like, I'll take it, obviously.
You're like, nope, don't like that.
I was like, that's kind of weird. But then when he handed it to me, he was like, there's two hilts. So he was like, the saber one's in the box. I was like, okay. And when I took it out and ended up looking at it, I was like, this feels like a saber. Like this looks good and feels right. And no, it's really nice. It's really cool. I like it a lot. I almost also got Leia's, which was there.
Yeah.
They had Ben Solo, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
They didn't have a lot of what they were selling. They were almost out. So they had Ben Solo's Leia's, Luke's, the Skywalker saber, but with the Rise of Skywalker edits, so the binding in the middle. And
That would be cool to have.
Yeah, that one was also cool. I was looking at, and then Count Dooku's, and that was it.
That's kind of random. You'd think they would have like, you know, the Kenobi.
Well, and I think they do. It's just that like they had sold all of their copies and were like they couldn't show it anymore.
Do they have any prequel era sabers? So like I'm talking like Yoda, Qui-Gon Jinn.
So I know Qui-Gon Jinn.
They do.
I know Qui-Gon Jinn's supposed to be there. Obi-Wan's supposed to be there.
The prequel one, the one from
like
with
his revenge,
weird doorknob.
I think
hilt.
both his episode 1 and his episode 3 are there when they're supposed to be, when they have them in stock.
Gotcha.
And then I know they have Ahsoka Tano's green sabers, but then also her white sabers are supposed to be there as well. And then I think they do Asajj Ventress as well. But I also
the thing
know
that sucks is like you went at like the height of the season where everyone's going to Galaxy's Edge, so everything's going to be out.
And I understood that. I'm really glad though that like they still had Luke's. I was really worried they weren't going to have Luke's. But it was really cool. No, and the place that you buy them in is like this antique shop.
Yeah.
So
the only reason I know all of this is because there's a Minecraft server that's literally like a 1-to-1 scale Disney.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
you
yeah.
can literally go around. And so I've like done a tour of Galaxy's Edge.
We didn't do any of the food. We passed through one of the like quick order ones, but everything needed reservations to order. And
that's how it is in Harry Potter too.
And I think that's a COVID thing that like that was the new rules that they implemented. But we passed by Docking Bay 7, which is like the main cafeteria place.
Did you get blue milk?
I did have blue milk. It's a lot sweeter than I anticipated.
Yeah.
So they do blue and green. I asked what the green tasted like. And the green, they were like, green is like soury and like citrusy, whereas the blue is more sweet and berry. And it is very much, it's kind of like,
you gotta get the blue milk though.
Yeah, that was the classic. It was really funny. My mom was like, I don't want to drink it if it's milk. And I'm like, it's not really milk. I'm like, I don't really know how to explain it. It's not milk. I don't know how many people are walking around with glasses of milk dyed blue in 97 degree weather. In the burning heat, yeah.
That would be like everyone's curdling and gross.
No, it was funny. It was very good though. It's kind of like a slushie that's kept right before freezing limit. So like, like sipping it, there's like ice little flakes in it, but it wasn't an icy drink.
Gotcha.
It was good. It was very interesting. No, it was cool. They sold holocrons and they had kyber crystals and they had statues, like really cool, like prop statues. And they had one of Snoke. It was a gold thing of Snoke sitting in his throne.
That's cool.
They had Vader's castle, which for like $200 too. That was like it was on the.
I think I saw the picture of that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was really cool. They had Jedi statues. They had an old Luke statue. Just tons of different stuff that, like, the more you looked, the more you really saw it. And the antique store was cool because, like, behind the counter was this big wall of helmets. And it was all literally any different kind. It was concept. It was original. It was stuff that was changed. It was dirty. It was clean. It was really cool. They had, like a concept Grievous that was like the Grievous mask, but like the front was like melted off and it was just like this like broken piece. And they had Mando helmets and they had Sith Guard helmets. They had one wall that it was all animals. And it was like a Tauntaun,
nice,
and, the saber monster from Attack of the Clones, and the horse beast that they ride in Rise of Skywalker. And it was very, very, very cool. Very neat to see it all. I cannot wait to go back and just kind of, get
actually
more
ride
things
some rides
and ride some stuff. Yeah, absolutely. No, it was cool.
I think if I had the choice to either go to Galaxy's Edge and wait in line all day for rides or just walk around and explore, I would just walk around and explore.
Yeah, and even then I was just like, we walked it once and then left and had lunch and then we came back and walked it again. And even then I was just like, every store at least had one or two things that I wanted to get. And I was just like, I have to pick and choose here.
If I had a $3,000 budget, this would be
literally,
great.
Yeah. No, it was cool. No helmets. Masks, they had, they were weird because they were like masks that went to like here.
Yeah, just like didn't go all the way around your head.
They had Boba Fett's and then they had Stormtrooper masks. and then like.
Did you have any interactions with characters or stormtroopers or anything?
So I saw some troopers. They were sitting up by Kylo Ren's ship, and then at a different point, they came down and were in front of the ship, and were kind of posing for pictures and whatnot. And that was our second run. So we just kind of like, hey. My uncle apparently saw Chewbacca, but I didn't see him at all anywhere walking around. There weren't really any characters, period, walking around.
Maybe it was too hot.
I think so, and I also think just like different COVID stuff, and like because when we went,
it's true because it probably has to be like masked characters because like you probably can't have like Imperial officers walking around without masks. Probably can't have Rey.
It was. We saw characters, but they were like behind a section that was roped off, so you couldn't walk up to it. You could take pictures from across the little like forage thing, and they would like position themselves into the picture and like be in the back. So so there wasn't much to do with it. It was still very cool just to see it all and just experience it. So
cool.
Yeah, it was a blast.
I really need to go one of these days. We're hoping next summer things will be a lot more chill, and hopefully we'll be able to go on, like, we'll figure out a lot more life things, because right now we're still trying to, like, figure out living situation and all that, but,
No, yeah, absolutely. No, it was neat. I almost forgot to say, it was on the other side of the park where it was called the Launch Bay, but it was a theater museum, and the theater was closed off, and there were like specific sections of it that were closed, so we couldn't see everything, but it was a museum, and it had like it had props like from Star Wars. It had like a whole Rebels case where it was all like models and ships from the from like the Rebel side, and then it had an Empire side and had like a Star Destroyer and like a Death Star, and Slave One had its own case, and we looked down in some of the stuff that was roped off, and we saw a case with helmets and like a case with lightsabers. And I guess they show like movies or something there, like in between times that like it's some air conditioned building that they've just dedicated to be a museum. But in between was like covered in concept art, Ralph McQuarrie art, and then like all of the posters. And it was really cool because like it was like a zigzag. You would walk through it, and it was just it was all the stuff mixed. So it would be like Phantom Menace stuff, and then like Empire Strikes Back, and then like Last Jedi stuff, and it was just mixed all. And it was really cool. It was very fun to see it and check it all out. So, well,
speaking of Ralph McQuarrie art, so this past weekend I was just at, like, not this just past weekend, but the weekend before that, like we had just recorded and everything. Went to the lake, and there is like over by Lake of the Ozarks, there's like this outdoor kind of like mall strip kind of thing. It's like all these different stores, and there's like a bookstore, and I was walking around and I found. I don't know if I can reach it with my headphones. Give me a second. I found this book. It is full. It's like the story of Star Wars, the entire original trilogy, but all told with Ralph McQuarrie's concept art.
Oh.
So like it has a lot of the concept art. I'm showing Jackson the pictures. It's just showing all of the concept and stuff.
Oh, that's very cool.
It is so sick, and it's just. It goes all the way from A New Hope until the end of Return of the Jedi. It's all of Ralph McQuarrie's art. It is so sick. Like, here's this cool Emperor.
Oh, that's super rad. There's
probably an awful thing to do on an audio podcast, but I'm showing.
Yeah, show books.
It's so cool.
There's a like box set book at this antique store by my house. It's BTS shots of the original trilogy, and it's just like this. It's like this thick, dense box that you open up, and each movie has their own book, and it's just stills and artwork and like BTS shots from it. It's like $200 for the whole thing, but it's really cool. I every time I pass, it's in this glass case, and I'm like, I want to see it. Like, show me it. They also have an original TIE Fighter model there, which I thought was really neat.
It's cool.
I also wanted to tell you, I went to Goodwill a few days ago, and I pulled a pretty sick haul, actually. I found book 1 of the Corellian trilogy from the original Legends books.
Yeah.
I found the book 3 of the Jedi Academy trilogy, and I found an original Last Command from
Oh,
Timothy
nice.
Zahn. Yeah, this was the one I was like, ooh. I was like,
What
that's a
was
cool
the
find.
publication or the printing date on that?
That's a good question, actually.
Because I know that looks like it's a trade paperback, so it might be a little later on.
93.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's right around the original printing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I thought that one was neat. So I was like, well, cool. Now I don't have to buy Last Command ever.
Yeah. Well, weren't you planning on
I plan
reading
to get, yeah, because I have Heir to the Empire.
Oh, no, Heir to the Empire was the one you started, because that's the first one. Last Command is the second or third one?
It's
Third
the
one.
last
That's what I thought.
It's the last one. I'm waiting for the second one to get its new. They're doing the recovers
Right.
of them.
They got a bunch of them at Target right now.
Yeah,
have
I don't know if 2's out at all.
I don't think it is. I think they have Heir to the Empire, and I know they have the first Darth Bane book.
I just went by Barnes and Noble today to look for it and whatnot, and I almost bought a hardback copy of Rising Storm the other day at Target because they had.
Was it this one?
Yeah,
It's so sick. It's so cool.
No, it was really cool, and I saw that Marky and Rowe poster in it, and
I'm gonna frame that whenever I get.
It's
an actual
it's a
office.
good book, man. I can't wait for you to finish it.
I'm like 3/4 of the way there. I got like a fourth of the book left.
Hell yeah. No,
So we'll get our review
crazy.
out whenever we're both finished and we're both ready to talk about it, because there's a lot to unpack with
There's
this
a
book
lot to
already.
unpack.
So let's get into some news here.
Well, cool. So starting out, we've got some Obi-Wan Kenobi news. Sung Kang, who is Han from the Fast and Furious movies.
Not Han Solo.
Not Han Solo, but I think it's funny that he's cast in this for a character he's played before named Han. Sung Kang talked about his part in this and kind of his experience so far with this. And this is one of the only cast members that hasn't really said much for the Kenobi show. Everyone else has kind of talked about his stuff. He was cast back in March, and he's just now been able to kind of speak about it. So this is the quote from him. Quote, "The feeling that I get on set is every single crew member, you look in their eyes and it's like a kid going, I grew up watching Star Wars. Like, this is my dream to be here. To see one of the Star Wars characters, a Darth Vader character, or, you know, one of the Jedis walking around." I just closed up my rundown.
Why did you do that?
Continued the quote, "I used to dress up in these Halloween costumes. Like I had a Darth Vader one, a Luke Skywalker one. It was all put together with like duct tape after a while. The fact that I'm actually on set and they're putting like a Star Wars costume on me. Come on, dude. It's like pinch yourself, right?" So this is a pretty, it's more of a fun quote. Everyone kind of explains this, how being on a Star Wars set's just like, wow, everyone's got that wonder in their eyes. What are your thoughts on Sung Kang's kind of involvement with this? Who do you think he's going to be playing?
I don't know. I'm going to kind of tease a new story we have later on that there's talks that we might get him as an Inquisitor.
I think so.
Perhaps the fifth brother. Who knows?
I agree that I think he's going to be an Inquisitor. The thing he says about talking about the Jedi, I have a feeling that Kenobi's going to do a quick, like, here's what Inquisitors are, and show someone's perspective turning into an Inquisitor, and it'll show Jedis in Order 66 falling and then coming to the dark side
That'd be
and
cool
joining
to see.
Vader. I think since this is just a big enough show, they'll have to kind of be like, oh, like, by the way, this is what these are. Like, if you want more of this, they're in other shows.
Yeah, I don't know how much they can fit in this series though, because there's only 6 episodes, and we have to catch up with Kenobi. We have to figure out what's going on with Vader. Got to figure out what's going on with Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. We got to, there's a lot to catch up on. And there's
watch.
6.
They're going to do all of that in episode 1, and then you're going to be like, whoa,
what's going to happen?
What's going to... I think he's going to play an Inquisitor. It seems that he is getting a lot of work with Vader, and is going to be around Vader a lot, which that'll be cool. That'll be really fun.
Yeah.
He's got that face of just kind of like grizzled, like rough, like, Inquisitor. Like, I totally see it happening.
Yeah, and Sung Kang is super excited. In the interview, they posed like Rotten Tomatoes, I believe, tweeted like this little like snippet of him talking about it, and he seemed really, really positive and excited to be a part of it. So it'll be cool to see what he does.
I love that.
So, Well, cool. Let's move along here. So the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser poster for the resort was officially revealed, and it features looks we got some Chewbacca and Kylo Ren action there in the background. And here's kind of just like a little rundown of what this resort even is. If you don't really know, it's this poster. You'll have to just go ahead and Google Galactic Starcruiser poster. It's actually kind of cool. It's got some like this hooded Jedi and like this Imperial officer and like this really like dark looking Twi'lek character.
Yeah, the Twi'lek I think is interesting. They kind of show that off a little bit, which leads me to believe that there will be a bunch of different species on it.
I hope so. I hope we get like Twi'leks walking the hallways and stuff. And
that'd be really cool.
But here's kind of the little snippet they put out about this resort. So it says it is an immersive 2-day experience meant to put guests through an interactive story on the Halcyon, a Corellian MPO 1400 star cruiser, during the time frame that Galaxy's Edge is set in. Initially set for a relaxing cruise through space, the ship finds itself in the middle of a conflict that the crew and passengers will have to resolve. Guests can make their choices on whether or not to align themselves with the First Order or the Resistance, along with various other options, like exploring the path of the Jedi and training with a lightsaber against remote droids. Guests will also be able to treat themselves to otherworldly sights, sounds, tastes, and smells as the ship makes its journey through. They're certainly free to visit Batuu if they need some fresh air. So I think Galaxy's Edge is like within walking distance.
So actually, I saw them building this while it was there. It's kind of tucked away and hidden, but early talks of this, I remember when they first kind of announced it, the way it works is that it's a shuttle system. It's like
that's right. We talked about this. That's right.
It's like Harry Potter World, where you take the train from one part to the other, but the train itself is a ride. It'll be like that, where it's the shuttle. So, yeah. So literally, you can leave and kind of go check out Batuu, which is really cool.
I wonder if the experience comes with a pass to get into Galaxy's Edge.
I would assume so. I've heard that this is already going to be really expensive to do.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I could assume that part of that will just be like a Disney ticket, because Batuu isn't like, it's not like sectioned off by itself. Like, you wander too much one way, you're in Pixar world, and you're just kind of like, oh, I need to turn around and go the other way. So I could very well see it just being like, you get a Disney park pass, and you're just able to be with that, which will be cool.
Well, it looks like we're still about a year away, but that is like, why wasn't this kind of stuff built whenever we were kids?
Right? I know, right?
I still want to do it. Like, I don't even care. I'll
cool.
go do it.
But, it's gonna be me in a room full of children being a Jedi.
Yeah, it'll be like Ahsoka.
Yeah, literally.
But yeah, it's interesting. I wonder how the whole like storyline is set up for you.
Yeah, I'm curious about like how the cast and crew have to work together. Like, what does that mean exactly? Yeah,
there's still I want to. There's going to be so many like videos and vlogs and that kind of things about it. So we'll probably figure out once people actually start getting to experience
even
it.
With just the testing stuff, it'll be really cool.
Seems, and it'll be exciting to also see that, what kind of new characters we'll get or that kind of thing, or if like this experience is supposed to be canon or not, and who knows?
I think it is, because Galaxy's Edge itself is canon. It's supposed to take place in between Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
So
who knows?
Yeah. Well, cool.
What is next?
So moving on, we have some new Black Series and some vintage collection toys announced. We have 3 new carbonized collections, which I plan on getting one of these actually, but we got a Black Series carbonized collection of a Scout Trooper, and then carbonized collection of a Shore Trooper, but then we also have a new and improved Paz Vizsla, who is the heavy infantry Mandalorian from I guess the first episode of The Mandalorian, the Jon Favreau Mando. Yeah, I was
going to say voiced by Jon Favreau.
Which there's already a figure of, and it's just heavy infantry Mando. So I think it's cool that with this new version, they gave him his proper Vizsla name, which, funny enough, Jon Favreau also played pre-Vizsla.
Yeah, I was going to say, do all the Vizslas just sound like Jon Favreau?
Yeah, literally. The rest of these Black series are, and I think the Vintage Collection too, they're actually really
all from
cool.
the Clone Wars series, the
They're all
2002.
from the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars. So included with those in the Black series, we have an ARC Trooper, which I think it's a blue one. I don't think it's the red one.
No, that's the red one. That's the red one.
Is it the red one?
Yeah.
Okay, then maybe the Vintage one is the blue one, because I saw there's a blue one too. But
the Vintage Collection's the blue one, correct.
Okay, so the Black Series is the Red Trooper. We get a Black Series Mace Windu, a Black Series Grievous, which that one's going to be really cool. That one will be next to impossible to find.
Yeah.
And then part of the Vintage Collection, we got an Ayla Secura, a Luminara Unduli, a Barriss Offee, and then the blue ARC Trooper. As well as, we have the Captain, and then we have a regular ARC Trooper.
One of them's a red, one of them is a blue.
Okay, yeah. And then a battle droid from that's part of the normal, or the 2003 Tartakovsky.
It's got the red battle droids.
That Grievous and that Mace Windu are going to be really cool.
I wonder if they're gonna, because for like these Vintage Collection ones, the card back looks like the animation style, but the figure themselves looks like the live action counterpart. I wonder if these figures are going to look like the animation, or if they're just going to be the live action counterpart.
I don't know.
If it's just going to be Samuel L. Jackson dressed as Clone Wars Mace.
Just make him Mace Windu. Yeah, I don't know if it'll be more just
because they haven't actually revealed them yet. They haven't revealed the. They haven't revealed the.
I've seen the Vintage Collection, but not the Black Series ones.
They haven't revealed the Carbonized Collection or the regular Black Series yet. So
I've seen the Carbonized ones.
Oh, I thought no. Oh, yeah. They did reveal the Carbonized ones. I forgot.
But you're right about the Black Series. Yeah,
the regular Black Series, the Grievous and the Windu have not been revealed yet.
I wonder if Grievous will have his cape. His white cape that he's got in that.
Oh, right, yeah.
No, that'll be so cool. That's such a cool version of Grievous. That's kind of it with that and those figures. Hopefully, I think if anything, I'll try to get that Grievous. I got to put shelves up soon. I'm going to put shelves down here to put more figures and get more stuff.
There you go.
I'm working on trying to get a Mando.
Nice.
So, well, cool. What do we got next?
Ooh, up next, it looks like the newest slate of High Republic novels were announced at the San Diego Comic-Con. They're calling this "The Light of the Jedi Goes Dark." Is kind of what this new phase is going to be kind of going towards. And it looks like what was announced was The Fallen Star by Claudia Gray. There's going to be another Del Rey, adult novel.
This is supposed to be the third of the light. There's the Light of the Jedi, the Rising Storm,
and this. Correct.
And then it'll be this.
Yep. And then we have Eye of the Storm by Charles Soule. That'll be a comic run, either a comic run or a one-off. I'm not sure. They didn't really, I don't think they specified, but it is going to be a Marvel release. And then we got Mission to Disaster by Justina Ireland. That's another Disney Lucasfilm Press. That'll probably be, either the kind of like the Into the Dark run, or it might be like the, not Rising Storm, the Race to Crash Point Tower, Test of Courage kind of thing. I don't know, because these are
ones. Yeah,
it could be one of those. And then Midnight Horizon by Daniel Jose Oler. That'll also be either one of those runs. But I think because Justina Ireland just did Out of the Shadows, so I'm assuming that her Mission to Disaster is going to be one of the more junior novels.
Yeah.
And then the Midnight Horizon is going to be, kind of going off of Out of the Shadows. So that's just, I don't think they specified. There's no covers or anything like that released, so we don't really know. But I have not finished this phase of the High Republic quite yet.
I need to work on the comics. Reading Rising Storm
Well, also Out of the Shadows came out as of this recording. It came out yesterday.
The first Sith appearance in the High Republic came out in a comic issue today.
Oh.
Yeah.
We need to catch up on High Republic so bad.
I don't think High Republic Adventures, but the one with Skier and his Padawan and all that. She the cover is her facing off to a red lightsaber. So, yeah. Well, I know we need to read those bad. They reference it a lot in Rising Storm. The more I read it, the more I was like, oh wow, there's actually a lot more in this from the comics that I'm seeing. So, no, yeah, I'm real excited. I love that Claudia Gray's doing the last book for the Phase 1, like the trilogy novels.
Yeah.
That'll be killer. That'll be really good. I've been working on Bloodline right now, too, since I finished Rising Storm. And
how's that going?
I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm not far into it. I'm only on like chapter 8, I think.
Oh, just wait until you're like halfway through and you'll be hooked. You won't want to put it down.
I'm already like, I burned through it and I'm just like, oh, I didn't realize how much I read so quickly.
Yeah, and you also learn a lot about Leia and
I like this period that it's in because it's a very like transitionary year. I like seeing
once you finish it, we might have to do a little episode on Bloodline. It's really good.
Opposed. I think we should start a book club.
Yeah, we got to start our Imperial book club.
We call it the Sacred Texts.
Nice. Yeah, we'll see. We need to get more into reading though, because it's taken me like 3 weeks to finish this stupid Die Republic book. Yeah. Oh my god. Anyway, let's keep on going. What is next?
So Lucasfilm hired a popular deepfake artist. Was his name Shmook?
Shamuk.
Yeah, Shamuk. Who he made a deepfake fix of the Luke Skywalker cameo in The Mandalorian. Lucasfilm hired this guy. So he was best known for adjusting the CGI on Luke Skywalker in The Mandalorian second season finale to look more realistic. In a lot of the comparison videos, he does a better job at kind of showcasing Mark Hamill's face, but his movements are not as fluid as the original. His mouth is a little more tighter now, but even then, the original kind of had some tightness to it.
Well, I think. You also might be thinking about the Corridor Digital one that we watched.
See, I thought that too, and I made sure that I compared it. But when it was announced, I looked at a lot of the stuff, and I ended up watching Shamuk's video.
I think what Shamuk does better is and I don't even know if this is just from his deep fake programming or what, but the eyes have a lot more life in them than the CGI faces do.
His face is structured out much more like Mark Hamill. I felt the original one, his face is kind of shortened in, and Mark Hamill has
gave him a little baby face too.
Yeah, Mark Hamill has a naturally kind of his cheeks can be a little gaunt at times. And Shamuk does a really good job with that.
I don't know why they gave him the 12-year-old chubby cheek look in that cameo. I'm not really entirely sure, but I think he does really good work, and it looks like they saw a lot of his work and they were just like, hey, do you want to just come help us instead of having to just like do fan edits?
On your own. Well, and he made a statement. He said that the position that he's been hired for is to be the senior facial capture artist, which is quite a promotion and perhaps the biggest one of its kind, considering that the deepfake videos that he has made have only been made on conventional computers. One wonders what he could accomplish using the power of ILM. I think it's interesting that he was brought on specifically for deepfake.
I think it's funny that they just like hired him on as a senior facial capture
artist.
They
were just like, hey man, like come join, like come hang out with the guys.
Because they weren't just like, hey, you want to come like be an animator PA?
Right. It's not like you have a lot of potential. Let's start you at the bottom of the company. It's just like, no, you're at the top. You're good.
Yeah. But because like essentially what he really does is he takes all of ILM's work and stuff and just uses that as a template to put the deep fake on top of. So it's not like he's making those from scratch. He's just deep faking ILM's already work. And I think a lot of people misconstrue the fact that he's not going from scratch and just rebuilding, remodeling, reanimating this.
Right.
He's just essentially just putting a deep fake on top of ILM's work already. But I think it's just neat that they're using his knowledge to, make things look more realistic.
I wonder if they're going to use him for work soon on, like bringing Tamara Morrison into Kenobi. You can deepfake kind of a younger Tem onto his face,
And I think there's a lot of opportunity to bring back.
Do you have the? Oh, you don't hear it. Let's talk about the posters that came out, the officially licensed posters from Comic-Con that came out, the 2 Mandalorian ones.
Oh yeah, I don't know why that wasn't on my list.
Because this doesn't directly tie into it, but I wonder if they brought Shamuk on to do more Luke Skywalker stuff, which means
I was literally about to say,
do you will we get more Luke Skywalker?
I think we might get some more Luke, especially because, you know, his specialty there was literally young Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, literally.
And, you know, maybe they weren't entirely happy with the look of it in Mandalorian. They're like, okay, how can we make this better? This kid on YouTube's pretty good. How about we, you know, see what he can do? And
I am still of the notion and the thought that if you're gonna do a Luke Skywalker anything, make it an animated series. Do a Luke Skywalker series with the new Bad Batch animation. Ooh. Oh, I bet you that would just be so cool. Man. And like just have it all be post Return of the Jedi of just like what he's been doing. But I think that
type of animation is really synonymous with prequel era. I think we would need to establish some kind of new kind of animation for.
I'm content with that. That would be just as cool.
Give us a Rebels kind of animation with a Luke Skywalker show.
That would be so cool. Yeah, I don't know.
All you gotta do is just bring in Mark Hamill and just you know, he does the voice, but you can just, you know, fix it a little bit so he doesn't sound so old, and there you go.
Even then, he's been a voice actor most of his career. I bet you he's got like a young Luke Skywalker in his register. Yeah. So, well, cool. What do we got? What do we got up and next?
Up and next, we got some Ahsoka news, kind of rumor-ish. So it looks like Rosario Dawson shared an Instagram post showing that, is it Mena Massoud?
I think it's Mina Massoud.
Mina Massoud. I'm going to call him Mina Massoud now. And Lars Mikkelsen could perhaps be cast in Ahsoka, perhaps. I don't really know, maybe.
Question mark.
She reposted a story that celebrated a rumor that has been circulating the internet for months that they could be cast. And, you know, this is not official. So everyone's saying, "Oh my God, they announced it. They're cast." This is all theorizing. This is all speculation. There's no reputable source that has said anything or even made a comment about any of this. But we remember, you know, a couple months ago, whenever you know, Mina Massoud teased the Ezra Bridger thing, and he had the Instagram post and put the Ezra Bridger quote, and you know. Lars Mikkelsen he's held his own with live action. You know, I remember seeing him in Sherlock, the BBC show, and he's in that. I forgot who he plays though.
Is he really?
Great. Yeah, he's great in Sherlock. I think he'd be a great live action because we've had so many of these fan castings for Thrawn, but it's like, why wouldn't you just cast the guy who? Yeah,
it was always kind of. It was already kind of just a given.
Yeah. So do you think there's any kind of merit to this rumor, or do you think it's still in the fan cast range?
I think for Lars, definitely. I also think yes for Mina Massoud as Ezra, but like, I wouldn't be shocked if that was one that ended up just being like a rumor and it would just fell through. I say like, Mina Massoud's Instagram post like kind of confirms it, but that also could be him like playing into it to be like, hey, Disney cast me, you know, like I'd be a good
almost
Ezra.
Like, wouldn't this be cool? Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I could see anyone for Ezra. I wouldn't be upset if it was Mina Massoud. I think more the Lars Mikkelsen's kind of the given, and that's the one that I think at the end of the day,
even has the look.
Like,
Lars Mikkelsen
he really
does
has the look. Those cheekbones that both of the Mikkelsen brothers have. Yeah,
it's the cheekbones for sure.
No, it'll be really cool. He'll bring a really. It'll actually be really different, just with his look. That like, because he doesn't look like Thrawn, you know, but like I know that they'll make him look like Thrawn.
All they gotta do is put him some red contacts in and paint his face blue.
Make him blue. Yeah, literally. Yeah. No, I think it'll be neat. I haven't seen Mina Massoud in anything. I know he was the live action Aladdin.
Aladdin was supposed to be like his big break, and then he wasn't cast in anything. There was a whole article about it, how like I think like it was his agent or something. I could be totally wrong here, and everyone's going to comment that I'm wrong if I am. But I think it was like his agent that's like pushed him to do Aladdin because there were so many things lined up and they had so much lined up for him, and he was just going to be his big break. And then after Aladdin, he just fell off. Nothing. Yeah. And he hasn't really been in much since then. I mean, it's only been, what, 2 years since Aladdin?
Still, but like...
Yeah.
Enough to make to notice it. And I get like the really world caught on fire, but still.
I really hope they did, you know, I mean, he does have experience working with Disney. You know, he knows the names of people around here. And I think that if this is true, and if he is truly cast as Ezra Bridger, and we do see him, I really hope that this kind of breaks him out of that lull that he's in right now, because I think he's a great actor and I think he has great potential. We just haven't gotten to see him, and I think he can play a really cool, like, serious, dark Ezra that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, it'll be really cool seeing his portrayal of this character we all know that is going to be different regardless, just from what the character has experienced. So he'll bring like a new, different light to Ezra that I'm excited for. It's cool to bring,
if it's true,
a different phase. So,
because who knows, Ezra might not even show up in the Ahsoka series. Who even knows? Nothing's been confirmed.
Yeah, watch Ezra be dead, but Thrawn lived.
Ooh, that would be dark.
That would be dark. Like, even after it all.
Now that you said that, it's probably going to happen, isn't it? Oh.
I don't know. Are
we ever going to see Ahsoka's death on screen?
I don't think so.
You don't think? I think she's never going to get murdered. I think
it's more going to be
just eventually
like,
gets old and dies.
Yeah, I could see it being like a Last Jedi Luke thing where like she gives her all to do something and like that much force power just makes her fade away.
Oh my God. I just thought of something that would be like, wouldn't this be so cool?
What?
What if, and this kind of makes no sense, that I'm thinking about it more in my head, it really doesn't make any sense, but what if, like, somehow in the Force, during the time where Luke was, you know, doing his thing, she was like this old, this old Jedi kind of thing, and she feels Luke in the Force, like, across the galaxy, struggling, because, you know, he's basically projecting himself across the galaxy, and he's like, you know, during that moment where he's like literally about to die, and she reaches out with the Force and like comforts him as he's dying.
I really want to see Ahsoka and Luke together. I really want to see a conversation about Anakin.
I don't think we're getting it.
You don't think so?
It'd be nice, but I don't think we're getting it. No. No.
Even if it was small, even if it was something.
I've seen a lot of memes of like, you know, them introducing each other,
that idea,
that kind of fun stuff, but I don't think it's so much of a fan theory that's not going to happen. Just like Spider-Man No Way Home. We're not at this point. I don't even know if we're getting Toby and Andrew and Spider-Man.
I don't know. I finished Loki and now I'm kind of like, shit, we might get Toby
That's a whole
Andrew.
Different conversation though. Who knows? Because that movie is destined to be a disappointment now because everyone's theories and stuff. But anyway, I think we can move on to our next news story.
Yeah, we got some more Kenobi news. So Joel Edgerton talked about the reason behind the secrecy in Star Wars. He was speaking to comicbook.com while promoting his latest movie, The Green Knight, which I'm very excited to go see.
Me too. So sick.
It's going to be very good. He was briefly asked about Obi-Wan Kenobi and his role in it, and this is his quote. Quote, I'm unable to discuss the series and potentially totally as in the dark as you are. We all know the universe of Star Wars is on a serious lockdown. Part of the reason for that is because people don't want the stories to be spoiled before they come out. The great thing about Star Wars fans are they are the creators of the next Star Wars universes. And I think that whoever's creating these things are creating them with the fans in mind, knowing that they hold the keys to that universe. To deviate too far from what you might expect could mean death by lightsaber, and yet to not introduce surprises within that mix is death to creativity. So with that, I am very curious of how much he is involved in this show. If he will be a big contributor to the Kenobi show, or if he will just be a little one-off. I think he's going to be a smaller part in this, actually.
I don't know, because it's I kind of see it as, I think he almost has to Uncle Owen kind of has to stay in contact with Obi-Wan because...
And I think that will be, like, his involvement is that, like, they keep in word with each other. Because, like, in the New Hope novelization, there's a one-off line where Luke talks about how Ben and Owen used to trade. Like, they used to trade a long time ago, and then as Ben got older, Owen stopped. So I wonder if they'll kind of, like, depict that like they are cool, they're tight with each other, and they're making sure everything's good, and then something happens and Owen's like, I'm done, like, stay away from my family and whatnot. And Obi-Wan's
I wonder if
like,
the Empire gets involved,
maybe,
and, like, you know, Luke gets in jeopardy and he sees it as Obi-Wan's fault, and that's why, you know, in A New Hope they kind of have this, you know, stay away from that old wizard and that kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, no, and that's kind of what I'm leaning to is that.
So I got a barking dog in the background. Please ignore that.
All good. I can barely hear him. But I think that's what is that by the end, Owen will be like, stay away from my family, and Ben's kind of like, okay, but he doesn't. He just watches from a distance.
Yeah,
just make sure they're all safe.
Yeah, I think there's got to be something that happens between them, or there's got to be a reason why Owen is so grumpy about him by the time we get to it.
Yeah, I think something will happen that involves the risk of people, puts like Beru and Luke in harm.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, speaking of Kenobi, we got a lot of Kenobi news today.
Speaking of Kenobi and harm.
Yeah, there's some more rumors. We kind of talked about this at the beginning of the show that Inquisitors could be appearing. So, as we know, back on May the 4th, actress Moses Ingram celebrated the holiday by sharing a video training with a lightsaber when she's been confirmed to be cast in the Kenobi show. While many names were thrown around for the character she might be playing, perhaps this theory has stuck around the longest, and that is one of the Inquisitors. You know, I could see her being Inquisitor. It'd be kind of cool. And also one of the rumors from the Bespin Bulletin says that Sung Kang, who we talked about earlier, and was announced for the Kenobi series with the big cast, could actually be playing the fifth brother from Star Wars Rebels. And if this is true, this would probably negate the theory that he's playing a pod racer or a pilot, because that was early on, that was like the big speculation, is that he would be this like famous pod racer on Tatooine, like this hotshot pod racer.
That's hysterical, actually.
Yeah.
Very fitting.
Yeah. So, you know, I think that would be kind of cool to see, like, pod racing still going on Tatooine.
Yeah, it's still happening.
But
Obi-Wan got really into gambling after the whole thing with the Jedi.
Yeah. But I don't know how I feel about Inquisitors being in this show. Because
I'm not surprised at all. I honestly expect a lot of the big name people to be Inquisitors.
Well, the only thing is, I think a lot of the tension between, you know, Obi-Wan and Anakin / Vader, it has to be on this personal level without these outside forces with Inquisitors, Imperial officers, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know if they can make it work in a really nice way, then fine. But I don't know. That's the thing. Yeah. We're so early on. We're probably not going to see any footage until early next year, or until. When is the next celebration? 2022, like August 2022 or something.
August or September, yeah.
Yeah. I hope we'll either see a release by then,
teaser or something.
Because I'm assuming they're probably not going to release this puppy until late 2022.
Yeah, I could see that, like Christmas time.
Yeah. Because I think they're probably going to do Mando season 3 and then Kenobi.
Yeah.
Because actually, I don't know, because they haven't even started production of Mando season 3 and they're shooting Kenobi now. So who knows?
I saw something the other day that was talking about how Mando season 3 officially started, and then I was doing something else. I was like, I'll look into that later, and I never did. But
yeah, we would have gotten some news on that by now.
Would have heard about that.
Unless they're just doing, like, a lot of times they'll go in early and shoot
I bet you we won't hear anything stuff until we see Book of Boba Fett.
That'd be cool if they attached it to Book of Boba Fett, like a teaser to like a post credit.
That would be cool. Yeah, it's kind of like No, yeah. They're so good at keeping things quiet that you just have to really figure out what the move is and what they're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
No, but I'm excited. I think it'll be cool regardless of what it is.
Just give us Kenobi already, man.
Just give it to me. Yeah.
We've been asking for Kenobi since 2014. Come on, man. Well, cool. I think that's about all the news we have today. A little bit of a heavier news week because we missed a whole week of news. But if you would like to find us on the social medias, you can always do that on Instagram at Through Imperial Eyes Pod, on Twitter at Imperial Eyes Pod, and on YouTube where Through Imperial Eyes Podcast. Jackson, where can they find you?
As always, you can find me on Twitter at QuacksonScaline. That's QUACKSON, and then scaling like the triangle. And then you can follow my photography Instagram, which is at Deleen_photography, and it's DALEEN and then _photography. Braydon, what about you? What are your socials?
As always, you can find me ranting about the Spider-Man No Way Home trailer on Twitter at Braydon, and you can also find me on Instagram at braydonleadbetter. And please do not be shy. Please make sure to hit up those Apple Podcast links and check out our Apple Podcast. Leave that rating, leave that review. It really helps out the show. And if you don't have an Apple Podcast, then go screw yourself. Apple. If you have a Apple Bapple. What else was I going to say? I was going to say something. Oh, hey, guess what? We're probably going to talk about Bad Batch again later this week. We don't know when. We're not going to give you a date anymore because every time we give you a date, it doesn't happen. So
it'll probably be that weekend, maybe.
We're just going to say later this week we're going to talk about it because I didn't even watch the one from last Friday yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I missed it.
It's okay. We'll talk about it, but like it's okay.
Yeah.
Not a lot.
So yeah, we'll see you then, and hopefully by next week we'll also get that review of Rising Storm in for you, so I know there's probably a couple people who at least want to know our thoughts on it.
I just need you to finish it. There's
I
just
know,
so
I'm
much
about
that
to.
I need you to.
I'm about to.
Need to get it off my chest. I don't have anybody else in the High Republic. I need you, Braydon.
Calm down, sweetie. It's gonna be okay.
It's not gonna be okay. All right,
you're
gonna learn, but you're not gonna. It's not gonna be okay.
Do not spoil this for me. I will be so mad. Okay. Anyway, I think that's about it. Until next time, may the Force be with you.